Hi guys, I wanted to go over the latest press release from SBET. It was released this morning. So I've put all the numbers in. I just wanted to go over it with you. The first thing I noticed is the ETH concentration increased to 4. We'll go over more over what actually happened there. But it did increase, and they added 56,500 coins, Ethereum coins, to their supply. I was actually hoping for a lot more at the low prices last week, so I was surprised. BMNR actually released their press release on Monday, yesterday, and they announced that they added 190,000 coins, so almost 4 times more than SBET. But I just saw on this site that the SBET target is only 1 million ETH. I actually don't believe that. It's interesting. I know the target is 5% for BMNR. So I think it's going to be more, because he said Joe Lubin said he wants to be the largest treasury in the interviews on CNBC. All right, anyways, so they added 56,500 ETH, basically a 3% increase in holdings. They also said that they're sitting on 200 million cash, which is nice. BMNR in their release said they're sitting on 400 or so million cash. The staking rewards for this week, they earned 411 ETH from staking rewards. So that's about $2 million per week. It's nice. My understanding is BMNR doesn't do staking at this time, which is surprising because they have double the amount. Yeah, I find that a little bit bizarre. BMNR is not staking. But yeah, SBET is actively staking. So what I noticed, guys, is before I go into my analysis about the two, because I'm only focusing on the two right now, I want to go over this important point. So the ETH purchase price for this week for SBET was, the average was this right here. And if we look at BMNR, their entire average for the entire holdings is 4,800. So this tells me that SBET is much more strategic with their buys. Yes, they have less buys, but they're much more strategic, right? So just the week that they are reporting on, their average was 4,462. But if you go over the past releases, you know, their average was sometimes like 3,800, 4,200. So their average, I would say, is around, I'm guessing, but around like 4,200 versus for their entire stack, versus BMNR is saying their entire stack is, the average is 4,800. So you can see these so these are the differences I see. SBET is way more transparent with their press releases. I have a much better understanding of what's going on. In my video yesterday, I didn't even understand how BMNR got this value here. So I find SBET to be much more transparent. We can see that SBET is more strategic with their buys. SBET is earning a yield, which BMNR isn't, but they're not buying at the quantity as BMNR. So BMNR has definitely Tom Lee, who actually I didn't really know until recently. I saw him a few times on television, but didn't really know too much about him. But supposedly he's a superstar. But I knew about Joe Lubin because I've been in crypto since 2018, and Joe Lubin is basically the second most important person from visual standpoint for Ethereum. Like Vitalik was the front guy, and Joe Lubin was the business businessman for Ethereum. That was the reputation. So I knew about him, but I didn't know about Tom Lee. So BMNR, you have the marketing hype, the name recognition for people that are just coming in, and you have these massive buys. I was surprised how small the purchase was. Definitely, I like the average, which is nice. I like that they're producing yield. If their target truly is 1,000 or 1 million, sorry, which I just recently discovered from this site, then that makes sense. And I just have to kind of reconsider my perception of SBET. But I did hear him say he wants to be the biggest treasury. I just want to show you guys. So here it says MNAV 1.06. I'm using the ETH concentration. This is the definition. I'm using the ETH concentration to calculate the NAV, and this is live. It's telling me it's 1.08, which is still a really good price. But I'm not sure how this site is doing the NAV. I feel I'm doing it the most accurate way because I'm using the ETH concentration that SBET is giving us. And if you use outstanding shares and calculate the market cap based on that, you're actually below NAV. So I don't like using outstanding shares because the ETH concentration, if you read this definition, it includes all the shares, like warrants you see in the definition, stock options. So every possible share that can be executed or put into the market is part of this ETH concentration. So that's why these numbers don't make sense. All right, so what else did I want to go over? Yeah, so this time around, it's interesting. So this time the ETH concentration in their definition, it includes the cash, the 200 million cash, which I'm okay with. Obviously, I would prefer the ETH concentration to be purely in ETH and for them not to have cash, I guess, but they're always going to have cash. So this is the next best thing. So they've included the cash in the ETH concentration. It's somewhere here, let me see. Yeah, cash, ETH concentration on a cash converted basis. I don't believe they did that last time. So I can see they're evolving in their reporting. Okay. Yeah, going back to here, so the entire reason for blockchain and why it's so innovative is here we don't really know all these shares that entail the warrants and the stock options. But on the blockchain, all that has to be on the blockchain. And it can all be calculated by anyone who knows how to read the blockchain. So this is why the SEC chairman said everything's going to go to the blockchain, because there you have much more transparency over what's going on. Because look, this number is taken from financial modeling. I'm grabbing these numbers from there. But if you go to TradingView, their outstanding shares are 176.45. 176.45, and I'm getting 168.92. So I don't know who's right? I think this is a pretty reputable site. These prices are very accurate. We look 193. All right, so I think that's about it. So I have to figure out further if this is truly their target. If it is, then these buys are making more sense, the size of these buys. And like I said, they're definitely more transparent in their reporting. They seem to be getting better averages when they buy, and they are staking. And so Joe Lubin, guys, he created Ethereum, and he knows Ethereum inside and out, right? So he knows the entire ecosystem, what what DeFi, if they're going to use. I don't think they are using DeFi. They're just staking. They're probably using their own staking mechanism, not relying on third parties like Lido, which gives them even greater yield. And probably BMNR doesn't have that expertise yet. So that's the difference between the two. I only own SBET right now because I like the transparency, but I'll probably take a little amount of BMNR. I'm hoping their reporting will improve. I'm hoping they're going to give us ETH concentration, just like SBET. Okay, pretty long video, but the stock price is doing decent. Obviously, I wish it was much higher. Oh, let me show you. So in this tool, it's cryptostrats.com. Here are all the statistics that I think you'll need. You can go over them. I think they're self-explanatory. So here you can put your average. My average right now for my major position is around this price. So I'm down 12%. With this price of SBET, my average that I paid for ETH is 5,700, and this is the MNAV that I paid for this. And here's your projection. So if we reach 7,500, which I think is doable, like it's gonna happen. And if there's way more hype than currently, this is a very low MNAV, let's say 1.3, and the ETH concentration keeps going up, which I have to actually research. If it's just going to be 1,000 ETH, it's not going to go this high. Anyways, if it does go this high, then the price of SBET will be $62. Okay, hope you have a good day, and talk soon.